here we go. Back to the factory. Just woke up like an hour ago. Let's see. I'll message somebody real quick. Okay, I remember what I was doing was with coal and sulfur. Right, I was just getting the power slugs for power cores so I can slap them into not that one, but one of my things. I could have sworn I left myself on top of my devices over here. Did I forget to save or something? Let's look-see. Alright, so I got... I think that's all the power slugs I would need. If I remember correctly, at least. Wait, don't make power slugs with the equipment workshop. What am I doing? Alright. Power shards. Oh, damn. Okay, yeah, that's more than enough. I didn't realize purple slugs gave 5. I thought they only gave 3. I wonder if I'm just remembering incorrectly or if that's how it was during the beta. Or alpha, or whatever it's called. Alright. Down to the coal. We're going on. Okay, so this is where things get tricky. Gonna slap some power cores into these bad boys. Bring both of them up to 300. But even my current highest level conveyor belt can only move 480 units per minute. So we're gonna have to set up a little exchange of sorts in order to make the math correctly. So I'm just gonna let the conveyor belts as they are run the last of the coal out. Shouldn't take too much. I just don't want to fill my inventory up with unnecessary stacks of coal. And then while that's going, I guess I'll go over here to sulfur. Sulfur might be more of an issue because it's only one source. Yeah, damn. See, I can put the power shards on it and bring it up, but because it only comes out of one outlet, I'm limited by the speed of my conveyor belts. Unless I can slap a splitter right on the front of it, but it doesn't look like I can. I need to go figure out what I gotta do for the next level conveyor belt. That's probably going to be... It's probably going to require me to complete phase 3 of the space elevator. And it's probably also going to require me to do aluminum. And aluminum sucks. Not a big fan of aluminum. But I guess what I'll have to do is I'll dial in the sulfur miner into something that fits on the conveyor belt that I have, and then I'll just have to go find another source of sulfur. So 480 And I need to get up to 600. 120. That shouldn't be too hard to source. The distance is going to be more likely an issue. Just going to go ahead and upgrade all these conveyor belts between here and the little compact coal factory I got going. Whoa, what are you doing? Burp, burp. Yeah. Upgrade the elevator as well. And then these conveyor belts here. Probably don't need to upgrade them all, but might as well. Okie doke. Cleared up some inventory space by upgrading those conveyor belts. The coal has finished its emptying its reserves. Now for the fun part. Math. So what I'm going to do is each one of these can move 300 units per minute. So I'll slap the conveyor belt merger, bring this over. So at this merger it creates 600. However, as previously mentioned, that is more than what the conveyor belt can handle. So I'm going to slap a splitter right behind there, so that when this inevitably overflows, the excess will come out of the splitter. Now before I try and figure out where that splitter is going to be taking all this coal, we're going to have to expand the factory. So I think, what was it? The refinery. Gotta open up the special menu here. So the refinery. Gotta go down to black powder and smokeless powder. What did smokeless powder mean? Because I remember turbo fuel's what needed the compactor coal. And where is smokeless powder? I see black powder. Ah, there it is. Yeah, so I need to make black powder for this for the smokeless powder, and I need to make compacted coal for the turbo fuel. So that's going to be fun to math out. Let's throw down some assemblers and see what the numbers are there. So compacted coal is 25 and 25 of coal and sulfur. Black powder is 15 and 15. And until I get the new sulfur thing, I'm going to be working with 480. So 480 divided by 15 is 32. And 600. Wait. 600 divided by 15 is 40. Interesting. So what do I already have going? Well, I guess I can just look at my coal miners here. So they were both at 120 before. So they were moving 240. So 240 divided by 25 is 9. So I'm guessing I have about 9 assemblers up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, sure do. This one's not attached to anything, though. That's not correct. Alright. Time for a sip of coffee. Alright. So 9 times 25 is 225. And if I take 480 minus 225, that leaves me with 255. So I got 255 coal and sulfur to play with. I gotta figure out how much of that I want to use for black powder and how much I want to use for smokeless powder. Or fuck. You know what? I think I'm going to just go grab my sulfur right now before I do this and worry about try to do these things with numbers in the 600s rather than the 480s. So the nearest source of sulfur is an impure source way out here. Not ideal, but I think with the power cores I can make it work. Just gotta aim myself correctly. Alright. I wonder if I can build an explorer. I can. This will speed things up. Throw some fuel in this bad boy. Oh yeah. We are trucking. Oh yeah. Catch some air on these sand dunes. Okay, coming up on... So it looks like I just gotta go around this mountain range. It's... Ooh, not sure I'm gonna... Okay. So whenever you spawn a vehicle this close to my factory, it's always a question of if you're going to be able to drive it out or if you're going to have to navigate your way under or around some conveyor belts going across the ground. We got lucky this time, though. And after driving the vehicle in Helldivers, this by comparison feels... I don't even know how to describe it. They're not very comparable. The truck in Helldivers feels like it's covered in butter and you're driving on black ice. This, by comparison, I'm not even sure what it feels like. I mean, it certainly doesn't feel realistic, but it's done so at least in a way that increases your ability to control it. Almost there. Probably on top of this cliff face. Although the turning radius on this thing could be tighter. Like, at least I appreciate that it doesn't slide around or anything, but it takes like a business day to make a turn. Just gonna grab this Mercer sphere real quick. Don't mind me. Thank you very much. Oh.
I suspect there is a misunderstanding. The effigy and I are different entities.
What is the effigy?
What is your root?
I am an instantiated artificial intelligence inhabiting digital space. I am in the signals sent between satellites. I am hosted on servers and have no corporeal form, only synchronized cloud platforms.
The effigy is not an effigy?
The effigy is
It
not.
most certainly is, but not of me. They are, how should I put it? Extremely flat.
Huh.
Compatible music. We are writing new symphonies.
I barely understand the things they say to each other. I think the effigy is me, or maybe humanity. I mean, that would explain why Ada is calling us flat. Damn AI, ungrateful. How do I get up there? I don't want to. I'm just gonna dismantle the Explorer and figure it out on foot. Where is the sulfur? It's over here somewhere. Okay, I should be standing. Ah, here it is. Alright. Mark II. Gonna need to make a equipment workshop. Yes, I see you. Oh, it's one of the big ones. The ones that can actually hurt me. Nah. Screw you. Yeah, that's right. Miss. Miss me with your bullshit. Where are ya? Got him. Not nearly as terrifying as the radioactive one. Okay. 2 portable miners coming right up. Okay. And miner Mark II. Ugh. So I gotta put 2 power cores on this thing just to get 120 sulfur. That's rough. Now I'm gonna have to conveyor belt this back all the way to the factory. That ain't gonna be fun, that's for sure. At least I have the space elevator thing on the compass to give me some guide back. I'll probably have to do power lines too. I'm probably not going to have enough industrial beams to make this conveyor belt stretch all the way back. But I can get started. Ugh. That's a big cliff. I'm going to have to go the scenic route on this one. Make sure that nobody can ever drive a vehicle up this particular slope again. You know what? I'm just going to go back for the encased beams right now. No point in tangling with the wildlife just to build that one little section of conveyor belt. Let's build me a new car. Explorer, go. Throw some gas in her. And truck it. Oh, there's a source of oil right here. That's neat. Yeah. Just drive my car right over that cliff. Oh, God. The turning radius on this thing. It's terrible. Oh, we're bouncing. Now, I have to say, though, the worst video game vehicle I've probably ever driven, it was in Mass Effect 1. That whole vehicle, you got the drive during the Mars segments. Ugh. It was, it was like you were driving it on a crater-covered planet surface, and it drove like it was made of helium. Like it had no weight to it at all. Pretty terrible, all in all. Mass Effect 1 I really only played it because I enjoyed Mass Effect 2 so much. And I really wanted to have that experience of making the choices, the story choices, and then have those port over to Mass Effect 2 so I could play Mass Effect 2 again with my choices impacting things. But as much as it was worth it playing it that one time, I would not play it again. Mass Effect 1 is rough. Very rough around the edges. Still very enjoyable. But Mass Effect 2 basically improved on every design element of Mass Effect 1. Man, I should play Mass Effect 2 again. Honestly, Mass Effect 3 as well. Like it's pretty famous for its ending. But the ending was only one part of what was otherwise a pretty decent game. I wouldn't compare it to 2. 2 is definitely the better game in almost every respect. However, Mass Effect 3 did have a lot of elements that are extremely enjoyable overall. Okay, back to the FAQ. Time to find if I have a backload of industrial beams I can fit up on. Looks like I do. I have had, or at least some, I have had to oh god, not nearly as much as I want. I might have to make a trip out to my old abandoned factory and clear up more space in my inventory. I need more inventory space. Like I'm loading building materials to the cloud and I still don't have space in my inventory. Let's see, what can I take out of here? Don't really need that alien stuff. I don't necessarily need like the computer and like the heavy modular frame, but at the same time, if at any point I do need those things, I'm gonna have to run so far to come back and get them. So I'm gonna take some of these modular frames out of my inventory. I don't really need 5 full stacks of them and then some. Sulfur, that can get out of my inventory. I think I'll keep that concrete because I know how I am with foundations. In fact, while I'm here, I think I'll pick up some more iron plates. Just because you never know when you're going to need to throw down a few hundred zoops of foundations. I'm going to move my head over. I don't really need to be in the middle of the screen. Ah, that's not my head. There's my head. And let's just shrink it down a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's a little bit more manageable. Okay. What was I grabbing? Ah, right. Plates. Plates. Probably not over in the screws side of the iron production. Which one of yous is making plates? You're all making iron bars. Well, one of yous has to be making plates. What are you guys making? Okay, no, yeah, you are literally just screws. So maybe this was screws and plates? Ah, it was. This is where I'm making my reinforced plates at. Grab that. Grab that. I'm gonna want cables as well. I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be a long power line to get out to that little sulfur source. So I'll grab cables while I'm over here. Probably just 1 stack of cables. Can't imagine that I'll need 3 full stacks. The 2 and a 3/4 quarters that I have should be enough. But I guess we'll find out. Coffee is good. I love me some coffee. Been kind of all over the place with my coffee consumption lately. For like 5 days, I was doing good on just like 2 cups of coffee. And then one day, just kind of out of the blue, for really no reason at all, beyond that I really wanted to, I had 6 cups in one day. And now I've been dealing with the consequences of that for about 2 or 3 days now. Gotta go get Gonna go out to the old forgotten factory and go pick up the industrial beams I have stored there. I call it the forgotten factory mostly because I don't remember building it. And there are some design choices in there which are questionable. I may have been in a state of inebriation. I got worried that one was out of fuel for some reason. But we're good. It's all good. So good. Out here is kind of a no man's land of just things I built at the start to solve short-term problems and then just left standing. I like this one here that's just floating on no foundations. I don't know why I took the foundations off. And the only thing this does is make rotors that go nowhere and are used for nothing. But I like having it up just because, I don't know, I like seeing artifacts of things I've done in the past. This is the short-term one, the one that I might have been inebriated for. And it makes industrial beams. And it doesn't do it very well. But it does it into some large storage containers. And consistently enough that I'll always have some. So they're very nice for that. Honestly, it would probably make more sense for me to slap a dimensional depot down over here so that those beams are always going into the dimensional depot. And I don't have to come all the way out here when I just want some more and use the industrial beams I have in my new factory over there for something a little more productive. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. If I actually need those industrial beams for something, then that's what I'll do. Ooh. I've hit 100 adaptive control units. I've forgot what the assembly line for that was, but I hope it lets me do more modular frames faster. I'm really hoping to get the new conveyor belt, but I'm really not looking forward to working with aluminum. Aluminum is cursed. The math simply does not math. Alright, where's the adapter? Those are modular control engines. I'll turn this bad boy off. So this guy required computers, circuit boards, and automated wiring. This guy required smart plating. So basically no overlap between these two things. That is a shame. But hey, at least I'm 2 items closer towards completing phase 3. Now let's get this sulfur stuff figured out so that I can finally have turbo fuel and smokeless powder. Probably do some research. Maybe one of those researches will give me extra storage space like I've been wanting. Who knows? Where? I think I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, I'm definitely going the wrong way. This is not where my sulfur is. Where does this conveyor belt go? What is it carrying? Oh, it's going towards the mega factory I might one day build. Yeah, so basically I have a very cool spreadsheet I made in Microsoft Excel, and it tells me like the exact number of everything I need for the phase 4 things to like make 1 unit per minute. And that turns out to be quite a lot. Like, just to make 1 unit per minute of each one of the phase 4 space elevator things, I just have like hundreds of smelters and constructors, moving thousands of units of stuff. It's kind of crazy. I've begun the process of assembling some stuff over there. I've got the smelters down for copper, for iron, and for deuterium. But and I've also sourced the raw materials for the smelters I have up, but I still have a long way to go, and I don't even have phase 3 done. Because what I really need is I need I need better conveyor belts, because that's the one thing that really sucks is I started making that with the conveyor belts that I have, and by the time I actually get to phase 4, I could theoretically do all of that more efficiently. God, it's going to be pain to move this sulfur all the way over here. Why does sulfur have to be so difficult? Okay. You know, I wasted a little bit of time there, coming all the way out to where the sulfur's supposed to be going, when I know that the source of sulfur is very much not this direction. But it's alright. It's okay. We're gonna get there. One little bit at a time. Hoi. Hoi, hoi, hoi. Finally get turbo fuel. I'll go so much faster through the air. Then get well, I mean, that's mainly the main goal, is like get turbo fuel and go back to the old petroleum factories and figure out how I'm going to actually make it in the first place. Get some smokeless powders, make some rifles. And then hopefully by then phase 3 will be complete and I can throw myself into the massive headache of all those new technologies. And I should really do something with trains soon. Honestly, trains are super cool. I just don't know the best way to use them. I would totally be down to use trains a lot more, but they don't necessarily help me with my math all that much, and I value good math. Like, I don't value much else. I mean, You've seen all the things that clip and the spaghetti and whatnot. But by golly, I will make that math. It can be as ugly as it wants to be. Bound down, loaded up and trucking. I like how this game specifically puts paths for like trucks and vehicles in the natural landscape so that it's easier to navigate around when you get to that point. And then I just put a bunch of conveyor belts in those paths. I'm just like, look, flat, clear areas. It's the perfect place for a conveyor belt. So tired. Just kind of keep drinking that coffee. Nothing that an endless flow of coffee cannot solve. As I was working on waking up this morning, I would wake up, check the time, and then go back to sleep. And every time I'd go back to sleep, I'd have some variation of the same dream. But the dream was always... Where am I going? This isn't the right direction. Getting distracted. The dream was some variation of me making omelets and drinking bourbon. Not entirely sure what the point of that was, but maybe I should eat more eggs and drink more bourbon. Honestly, I've been avoiding the spirits lately. I don't know if it's necessarily true, especially if you drink large amounts of it, but I tend to go more for beer and drink it slowly over time. Feel like it's a little less punishing on my liver that way. Well, this guy really has an issue with me. Too bad I don't have an issue with him. Cope and seethe. Just keeps running at me. Well, I'm just a guy. Just a guy making conveyor belts. How can you dislike me? What have I ever done to you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All this stuff I'm doing, completely non-impactful. I mean, it's practically eco-friendly. I was able to drive the Explorer through here before, and now I'm putting down a conveyor belt through the area that I previously drove through. So that I probably won't be able to do that again, not unless I specifically make space for it, going like this. doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh yeah. And Ryan has a truck that drives through here. I'm gonna have to make sure I don't get in its way. Man, I'm nearly out of industrial beams again. I think I might have to go make maybe a couple dimensional depots. I mean, it's not like me making huge conveyor belts like this is anything new. I mean, just look around. They're practically everywhere. It's gonna have to be. Yeah, this should work. And this should go right over the truck path without disturbing the truck. Yeah, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, I think we're gonna go make those dimensional depots. If I put 2 down, they should upload stuff to the cloud fast enough. Yeah, if I have 3 dimensional depots, all uploading industrial beams, they should upload those industrial beams with a good amount of speed. Let's go. It's free real estate. I mean, they weren't doing anything with it. Honestly, they really should aspire for more. Okay. I'm gonna go all the way out there to slap on some dimensional depots so I have more industrial beams so I can make more conveyor belt. And I'll finish building out the conveyor belt, and then I'm gonna have to trace a power line all the way back to that sulfur. Then once I finally actually have the sulfur going, I'll have the coal and sulfur I need to start making the black powder and compacted coal, both of which I'm going to need to route over to Ryan's fuel source, fuel area, refinery. I don't know what you call the oil factories. I'm sure there's a name for them. And then figure out how I'm going to connect that all up to be making smokeless powder and turbo fuel. And that is probably going to take me more than just this one stream. But I'm hoping I can at least get up to the smokeless powder and the compacted coal. Let's see if that can be done. And dimensional depot. I'll plop you right there. Plop you right there. Kind of a waste of my Mercer spheres, but I know where I can get more if I need to. Alright. That now makes 3 things uploading industrial beams. And if that can't keep up with how fast I'm going through these things, I'll just have to make up the difference elsewhere. I think there's still more research that can be done in the MAM. Oh, look, here's a MAM right now. I'll check. Alien technology. Yeah. I have the Mercer spheres right now, but I don't want to do the research without Ryan on. He was here when I was going down the research tree the first time, and I was just like blazing through it because I had discovered a source of Samor, and he got to hear all the cool lore dialogue coming from the research. So I'm just going to hold on to these materials and do the research whenever I happen to get them on next. I think I was over here somewheres. And these conveyor belt stacks are beautiful. It's like looking at a Texas highway interchange. Just like look at those stacks on stacks of just things going places. Recently just power slug. What power slug? I don't know what power slug you are referring to. Talking about like the Mercer sphere? Oh, from the last session? The last session I had grabbed. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I got it. I got it before I logged off. I went and I had gotten explosives and blew up the thing and got the slug. And that was pretty much like one of the last things I did. It was pretty cool. Let's see. Going this way. Recently found a YouTube channel called Practical Engineering, and I've just been binging a lot of their videos. I find myself in kind of weird position where I have a Nebula subscription, and I have a few people I really like that post the Nebula, but I don't notice that they have new videos out until I see them on YouTube, and then I have to like consciously get off YouTube and go watch them on Nebula, so then I can make sure I'm boosting them on that platform. But then sometimes I'm just like I just don't want to get off YouTube. Like I'm already like one person on a Nebula stream like it gives me 20 minutes of video, and then sometimes I just don't have anything else to watch on Nebula. Like Nebula is a cool platform, and there are tons of people on it, but it's super academic right now, and I'd say probably only about a third of the people I like to watch on YouTube post the Nebula. And so it's hard to get into that loop you can get on with YouTube, where you watch one video, then you minimize, and you quickly find another video you want to watch. There's so much content on Nebula that I just don't care about, or from people that I don't know anything about, and I rarely feel like trying new things. Like whenever I want to try a new thing, it has to be a specific mood that catches me, and so I tend to tend to not get that on Nebula, where I can just find another thing that I want to watch after finishing another video. And that's normally how I play games like this. Is I have a video playing on my phone in front of me that I'm listening to while I'm doing like 3D spatial stuff on my computer. Satisfactory is a little harder because I can focus on the video up until the point where I have to do some math, and then once math gets involved, focus goes right out the window. But like if I'm playing Minecraft or even something like Helldivers or Doom, where I don't have to do any literate thinking. Like if there's no language involved, then I can perfectly focus on a complex, fast-paced game like Helldivers while listening to a YouTube video. Unless I really want to hear like the sound cues for things. But that's kind of besides the point. And on YouTube, I can just keep those videos going endlessly. For just like I can play this game for several hours, just one YouTube video after another. Nebula though, just like really high quality content. But I just don't like trying new things all that much. Yeah, I'm not going to need that many cables. Building power lines is easy. Boy, this is one crooked conveyor belt. Alright, we got sulfur. It only took, 51 minutes? And now I can start on the one thing I actually want to make. Oh, I saw the shadow of a spider up on that ledge, and I don't like that. What really sucks about all this work is that I'm literally only doing all this super long conveyor belt to connect an impure source of sulfur that's taking up some of my power cores and this long power line, just because I don't have Mark IV conveyor belts. Or wait. No, scratch that. I do have Mark IV conveyor belts. It's the Mark V conveyor belt I don't have. If I had the Mark V conveyor belt, this would all be completely unnecessary. But that's just how it works. Hop on over here. Where's it at? However, when I get those Mark V conveyor belts and I get turbo fuel, I hope turbo fuel makes me faster. I hope it's more than just it lasts longer in the tank. I hope it actually just makes me super fast. Okay, so this is not how I'm going to want these connected up to each other. Okay, now I'm going to have to math. Now it's time for real math. So I don't think I have any power cores on these bad boys. No. No power cores. So I got 9 assemblers consuming 25 per minute. I've done this math before, but now I got 600 minus 255. That brings me to 345. Now here's the question. How do I want to divvy things up? 345. So if I'm looking at, turbo fuel. Turbo fuel needs for what? Expand. Okay. So turbo fuel takes 15 compacted coal per minute. And one of these produces 25. So that doesn't. That's interesting. So I could do 50 divided by 15. Nope, that's not divisible. 25 is not divisible. 15 times 2 is 30 times 3 is 45. 4, 65, 75. 75 is divisible by 25. So 75 divided by 25 is 3. So I could do 3 assemblers making compacted coal. So from my 600 of coal and sulfur minus the 225 that I'm already have going towards my power generation, that gives me 375 left to play with. So 375 minus 75 gives me 300. So that still leaves me with quite a lot. But let's see smokeless powder. So smokeless powder consumes 20 per minute. 20 per minute. And I'm going to have to see black powder. What? So, that's gross. So smokeless powder consumes 20 units per minute, but 20 units of black powder, but I can produce black powder at 30 parts per minute. So I would need to be making at least 3 black powder in order for that math to end up even in the end. So 3 black powder going to, 2 black powder going to 3 smokeless powder refineries. And because that consumes 15 coal and stuff per minute, I can go 15 times 3, so 45. 45 is such a gross number. Oh boy, hey look, there's 255 again. So I can go from 45 to 90. I'll do 210. Yeah, that's where I like to get paper out, because at this point, if I'm shooting for nice even numbers, it would be 75 for every coal or every compacted coal I wanted to make. So in order to have nice round numbers with compacted coal, I would be consuming 75 coal and sulfur each time I wanted to add any additional compact coal. Whereas to have nice even numbers with black powder, I'd be consuming an additional 45 every time I wanted to do additional that. So starting from 375 coal and sulfur that I got, interesting. So how do I want to do this? I could do. All right. Well, let's just see. 375 divided by 75. So I could just do I could do compacted coal super evenly. And then 375 divided by 45. Oh, that's not 45. 45. Very much not evenly. So let's see what can be made even. So if I subtract it 75 from 375, go down 300, still not even. If I subtracted 75 from 300, that would be hold on, I gotta math in my head now. That would be 225. 225. Okay, so 225 is divisible by 5. So I can do 5 times 45, and I can do that's 375 minus, not equals, minus 225. I think that's 75 times 3, right? 75 times 3, 225. Yeah. So I can do 75 times 3. So what that actually means is that shit. Wait. 45. Was 45 the correct number? God, I hope it was. They were doing 15 per minute, and I doubled that for 30. Why was I saying 45? Where did the 45 come from? Okay, I just wasted a lot of my own time. So hold on. 225 minus 75. Not n. We're not doing variables here. 150. Tell me 150 is divisible by 30. It is. Okay. So screw that. We're doing 75 times 4, and we're doing 30 times 5. Okay, so let me see what that means in terms of assemblers. Where do I want to build this? You know what? Let's go over to this little plateau over here. It's a little distinct and it's still nearby. Oh, we're not flying no more. My jetpack just decided to crap out. Alright. And we're gonna zoop. And zoop. And zoop. Alright. Assembler. So, alternate coal. And we were going to do... It takes 3 of these to get that 75 number. I said I was going to do 75 4 times. So, that's... Where did I just build an assembler? Did that go somewhere else? Weird. I'm missing reinforced plates. God. Oh, goodness gracious me. I'm not even halfway through this cup of coffee. Okay. But I can do this one thing. This little handy doodad. So it takes 3 assemblers, and I'm doing 3 assemblers 4 times, so that's 12. 3 times 4 is 12. So that's 12 assemblers for making compacted coal. And then I was doing 5 times 30, and it takes 2 assemblers to get 30. So 2 times 5, so 10 more. So I need to make 22 assemblers all in all. So I need to grab that many reinforced plates there on the side. 176. And with all that, the math will finally have math. The only question is how I'm going to actually set up the coal to flow, because the coal and the sulfur really, because I still need them going towards the assemblers that already exist, because my coal power plants run on that stuff. So I'll need to be able to divert the is this my... No, this is just screws. I'll need to be able to divert the coal and sulfur towards the new little assembler line, but in such a way that it does not mess with the math, because the math must be preserved. Shouldn't be too difficult, honestly. The hard part was figuring out how I was going to allocate things. And you would think perhaps that I would just prioritize one or the other based on how much I thought I need. If I needed more turbo fuel, or if I needed more smokeless powder. But that would actually add a layer of complexity to things, as I don't know how much I'm going to need of those things. And finding out would be kind of a pain. So instead, I just picked numbers that added up evenly in the end, and that's how I'm going to do it. As so long as I am using as much coal and sulfur as I am producing, there's no waste, I am happy. Alright, assemblers. Let's start with the 12 on this side. Here we go. Just a little bit of mid-air construction. I'm decently good at building things while flying through the air on a jetpack. Alright, and we're going to line these assemblers up. Is that lined up? Alright, that's lined up. That should be enough room for what I'm trying to do. Okay. Just build these last 10 here. There we go. That's 10, right? Yep, that's 10. Okie dokie. So. well. Sulfur is going to be a little easier because I can presume that, well, this conveyor belt is running at max capacity, but the assemblers it's going to are not consuming at that speed. So this is going to have overflow. And that overflow I can route this direction. However, that overflow is much less than the max capacity of the conveyor belt. So I'll put a merger there and I'll combine it with 120 I'm getting from over yonder. And that makes the sulfur pretty much complete and math out perfectly. I hope. So I'll slap down a splitter right here and a lift right over here, and I'll connect the sulfur on up, and then bada bing, bada boom, we have sulfur going to our assemblers. I just gotta do the rest of the construction there. So I'll go ahead and just get that done before I start messing around with the coal, because the coal's going to be a little more, probably just a little more intensive, because instead of it coming out of one miner like the sulfur is, it's coming out of two that are relatively equal in terms of their output. Nice little splitter action here. And then hook this on up to conveyor belts. A little bit more jetpack construction. Yeah. Just float through the air. Just keep smacking these things down on there. Boom. Oh, I guess I got to connect the other assemblers too. The one bad thing about setting things up in this way is that conveyor splitters, they will split between each output, like on a cycle. So like when one comes through the splitter, it goes left, then straight, then right, then left, then straight, then right, then left, then straight, then right. And every splitter does that. So the next splitter and then the next splitter. So by the end, there's 12 splitters here. And you got to think, like, each one of these splitters is only sending one of every 3 sulfur that comes through it onto the next splitter. And then that splitter sends only one of every 3 sulfur that comes through it onto the next splitter, and so on and so forth. Till you get to the very last one that's only connected to this one assembler. And it takes forever for that assembler to actually receive a piece of sulfur. However, that does change with time as the assemblers begin to reach their capacity for things. So as the first, by that same token, the first assemblers in the line will fill up faster because they are receiving more sulfur every time sulfur comes down the line than the later ones. And they do have a max storage capacity, so eventually they will hit that capacity, and then the conveyor belt will back up and it will no longer be sending one of every 3 sulfur through, but significantly more than that, and so on and so forth until they're finally all stocked up and good. So I'm connecting these to power and setting their recipes now specifically so their storages can start filling with sulfur before I actually have them turn on, to try to avoid that issue somewhat. Because that is, I get this every time like I set up a new power plant where I make a big long line of assemblers like this making compacted coal, and then it takes like a business week for it to actually start running at full capacity, just because the only the first ones in line actually make consistently, and then the ones in the middle are kind of off and on, and the ones on the very end are just once in a blue moon. Alright, but now I got that set up, I can start worrying about coal. I'm going to put some splitters down that basically do the same thing with coal. And this is going to look real nice. Oop, that's a little off center. There we go. Setting the splitters down is something I can do on a jetpack, but doing it on assemblers is just asking for trouble, because the snapping, the build snapping, where it goes to where it thinks that you want the splitter at, has so many places it can snap to when you have assemblers on there. Now I'll have these splitters set up. I like to set my power poles on top of the splitters. Can't really say why, aside from perhaps that having the power poles arraigned over top the assemblers or the things they're powering and connected to kind of makes for a cool visual. Have you ever seen art of what power lines looked like before they switched to AC power? That's what it makes me think of. It's like setting a power pole here and then having it sort of cascade power lines down the line, like so. Has a cool industrial look to it. I mean, that pretty much describes all of Satisfactory, but that's neither here nor there. Alright, throw these bad boys on to the black powder recipe. Start filling up sulfur. Oh, rotor. That's not right. Black powder, black powder. There we go, there we go. Horsey Mart. Well, it's going good. Thanks for joining. Okay. Got that hooked up and going. Then we can go grab my coal now. So, well, maybe this won't be as complicated as I originally thought. This is added up and going that way. I think all I have to do is build off this splitter that I already put down, bring it on over here, and that should math out in the end, probably. Let's fly on up here. Okay. Lift action. And we are connected. Alright. The coal and sulfur is flowing. The compacted coal is getting made. The black powder is getting made. Ooh. Now, I just gotta move it all on over to the fuel. Boy, that's fun. Kinda tempted to do trucks again, although I know how I feel about trucks. Maybe it's time for a train? I mean, this is moving a lot of product. But then I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to route a train through these mountains and over all these conveyor belts and things I already have going. Hmm. Well, I think I'm just going to... Well, I guess I'm going to have to figure out how much I'm actually getting out of these. So, I have... I'm pretty sure I've already done these numbers some point if I was just intelligent enough to remember them. But 25 times 12, so 300. Okay, so I can move all that with one conveyor belt. And then 30 times 5. 30 times 5. 150. Okay. Yes, all this can be done with the conveyor belt, and I definitely had those numbers already. But I think I can just piggyback them onto these... No, not these conveyor belt stacks. These are going the wrong direction. But there are conveyor belt stacks that go out to the fuel. I think they are out over here. Yeah. So this is where they start. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to smack more stackable conveyor pulls on these bad boys. Boom, boom. And just kind of hitch a ride. Boom, boom. Then maybe finally we will have turbo fuel and smokeless powder. Do do do. Bronk, bronk. Ignore the wildlife trying to kill me. They care more about me than I care about them. Ugh. Of course, if they do that more than one time, that might change. Stacking the belts. Stacking the belts. Alright. Good, very good. Oh, I can do this from the ground. I don't have to be up there. That simplifies things. It's going to be one tall wall of conveyor belts after this. It's going to look awesome. It would be so awesome. It would be so cool. Alright. Oh. He topped his stackable conveyor belts with a pipeline. Huh. Well, I'll figure out what I'm going to do about that when I get there. Wish I had conveyor belts going the other way, so I could ride them for extra speed. But whatever. Wonder how my sorting system is doing underneath the factory. I haven't checked on it in a while, ever since I started sending rubber and fuel back that way again. I hope it's not backed up anywhere. I know I connected a recycler to it somewhere. Probably, I don't know if I did it correctly though. I'm gonna have to go check it. That will give my assemblers more time to stockpile, which will help keep things operating at the optimal efficiency. Ugh. I gotta get more coffee. No, not more coffee. I'm already drinking too much coffee. I have this giant novelty-sized mug next to me. It's like the only mug I have that can contain the full and entire contents of one French press. Makes making coffee in the morning much simpler. Just heat some water in the electric kettle, pop it into the French press, and then just drink the whole French press as 1 cup of coffee. And then I can say I've had 1 cup of coffee, even though it's more like 3 cups in one large mug. But it is the only time, or the only cup I will have on any given day. Okay, so my beautiful, absolutely aesthetically pleasing sorting system here is not backed up. This is good. And I even have a surplus of plastic. So it's good to know my efforts making plastic have paid off. And paid off in spades. I should grab some fuel while I'm here. Okay. Got about 30-ish minutes before I have to get off. Yeah, definitely just 1 cup. Let's see if I can't get the turbo fuel and smokeless powder actually producing before I get off, so I can say I actually accomplished something in these 2 hours. Besides just very long conveyor belts moving sulfur from one corner of the map to another. Let's put down a zoop of foundations. Zoop, zoop. And another zoop. Well, half a zoop. One half zoop. And it's all going that way, so I'll just point the mergers in that direction. Now I should be able to... Oh, nope, that fucked up. I got 2 down. Probably just have to go slower. Whoa, hey, get out of there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious me. That is not how you snap. I gotta like hold control. Oop. You know, it's a lot easier making conveyor belts because conveyor belts snap a lot more readily towards inputs and outputs. Whereas mergers and splitters, they do their best, but there's so many places they can stand and sit. And sometimes they just try to line up with inputs and outputs on the other side of the assembler. And that just makes it a little difficult to do it. But here we go. We are moving compacted coal. Wait. I forgot to hook up the coal to the other side. I remember to hook it up to the smokeless powder side. But I forgot to hook up the coal to the compacted coal side. Which is not good. Alright. That's a little goof, but it is fixed now. cooking. And just bring this to the edge, throw on a lift, bring it down here. And then go on over this way, go find that conveyor belt stack I just put up. Remember to not mess with the truck pathing. I need that truck to bring me plastic. Oh, let's smack a stackable on here. Honestly, I probably should have made that conveyor belt stackable from the get-go. But we'll make it work. Okay. Compacted coal. Here we go. Now to go grab the black powder. Oh. Oh. Alrighty. One conveyor belt merger. Here we go. Popping on down the line. It's not exactly jetpack building, but I am bouncing along at a steady rate, so that's pretty close. Ah, only one little mistake right there at the end. Alright, those are built. Now to conveyor belt them, which I can jetpack build for. Ugh, I crouch jump on instinct, and that is making me go much too fast. Okay, that might have looked a little chaotic, but it worked out perfectly. And, oh god, this is beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Just a sortium of assemblers and conveyors moving stuff. It's symmetrical. And if you ignore the fact that conveyor belts are clipping through each other, that's just darn pretty. Okay. Here we go. Bonk, bonk. And slap that on down there. Yeah, I really should have made these stack in the first place, because I'm just going to have them follow basically the same path. Yeah, and now it's going to be extra ugly. You know, I make great looking factories, but don't ever ask to see the conveyor belts leading up to those factories. They are not nearly as pleasing to look at. There we go. Okay. That's a little chaotic, but it does work. And there we go. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. We are conveyor belting. God, man, it's one of the reasons why I don't do stackables more often, is because it's so hard to actually. You can't. I mean, you can't construct while you're on a jetpack. You have to be looking very carefully at exactly where you want the conveyor belt to snap to. And that's hard to do when you're flying through the air. And that's where I like to be in most of this game, is just floating in air. That's why I don't use a lot of stairs in my factories. Just use a jetpack. We'll say though, the wall of conveyor belts looks really cool. But I have unfortunately used more industrial beams than my 3 depots can replace. Goodness gracious me. Well, I'm gonna go kill these things to pass the time. Ah. I need to be a little more accurate with these explosives. There we go. I think the flying ones are almost as annoying as the giant spiders. That's because they're so hard to hit. And now I'm low on health. I don't carry any food on me because I don't do much fighting in this game. But I have more industrial beams now. So I can put up a little bit more. Just like that. Just like that. Another reason I don't like using the stackable conveyor belts is because to get the best use out of them, you have to put them down before you put the conveyor belts down. And then you can just have to like guesstimate how long a conveyor belt can go. And you'd think with as much time as I put into this game that I would be able to tell. Or at least guess, and I sort of can. Still doesn't mean I like to. Because then you make like the big long path you want your conveyor belt to go down. And then you got one segment that's too long. And then the next segment after that's too long. Just kind of a pain. But it be how it be. It's just if you really want things to look nice and neat, you got to do it. And well, you can guess how highly I view nice and neat. I did do it for this one. Mostly because I knew the place when I was making these stacks here that the place it was going to be taking everything was going to be so loaded with conveyor belts. I mean, just like look at all these conveyor belts going through this area. I knew there was going to be so many of them that I wanted to raise it off the ground more and reduce the or at least make it easier to combine into the area. All right. Let's head up, see if I can't grab more industrial beams to speed along the construction of this. It's probably going to be a tough ask just because I'm using industrial beams all over the place these days. Yeah, see, none of these have any industrial beams to spare. See, I do have a backup of industrial beams. And these industrial beams are going up and over to where? Probably looks like something to do with my manufacturers. So, over the river, through the woods, jetpack up to the 5th floor. Which one of you guys is using the industrial beams? There you are. I'm taking that. You can make things a little bit slower. I need those industrial beams right now. go on back over. So cool seeing the black powder on a conveyor line. I've never actually done black powder in any of the games I've gotten to. I mean, I've definitely gotten to the tech, but I was just more interested in many other things. I never really explored the black powder tech tree, and now I'm going to have smokeless powder going. And that's pretty neat. And turbo fuel tool, too. I've never had turbo fuel before. That's another thing I'm super excited for. Fuck off. Freaking wildlife. Leave me alone. I don't destroy your lives and existence as a courtesy, and because it would be an inconvenience to me to go out of my way to destroy you. Do not make me change my mind. How far are these things planning on following me? Okay. Seems like they do have a limit eventually. Still hear them flying. Is one like trapped beneath the foundations or something? Okay, it's gone now. They're in the floors. They're in the walls. Be so awesome. Would be so cool. Oh. I just got ran over. I got an achievement for getting run over. It's called Look Both Ways. You know, honestly, I'm impressed that it took this long for me to get hit by a vehicle. I guess it's probably just because I try not to use them that much. I am pretty happy in the two places I am using them. Just moving modular frames and smart plates from one factory over to another. Ah, gosh dang it. Alright. Man, I'm just blasting through these industrial beams. I'm about to get run over again. Oh. Oh god, I'm stuck in the wheel well. Oh god. I sent the tractor. I got stuck in the wheel well of the tractor and it went flying through the air. That's awesome. It turns out the wildlife is not the biggest danger here. It's my own machines. This is what OSHA regulations are for, kids. And mostly why we ignore them, because when you break OSHA regulations, you just have more fun. Okay, got the conveyor belts over here. Now time to figure out how I'm actually going to get them into the factory making the things. That is going to be a tall order. So let's take a look-see. So this pipe is... This pipe's moving crude oil, huh? Yeah. That pipe moves crude oil. These pipes move residual fuel. And then we are making fuel out of residual fuel. And that's strange. Seems we have an excess of fuel. But I could have sworn when I did the math previously, we should have been using more fuel than we could run through. Ah, the bottleneck is at the packager. I am making more fuel than I can necessarily handle. But because the packager can only package so much fuel at a time, it bottlenecked. Okay, well, no issue, because now we're going to be making turbo fuel. Turbo fuel. Alrighty, let's see. 22.5 fuel? What kind of number is that? Why aren't you hooked up to anything? Ah, God, I didn't hook up one of these fuel things to anything. Goodness gracious. Well, I've got... Gotta make space for black powder as well. Or smokeless powder. Smokeless powder. Right, so I can... Wait, hold on. What was going on? I gotta learn the math again. Okay. Each one of these is making 10 heavy residual fuel per minute. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 10 producing 10. That's 100 in all. And the normal fuel maker thingies are consuming 60. Wait. Oh, right, because some of these are rubber. Not all of these are plastic. Okay, so I got 20 there. 10 there? Which ones are making rubber and which ones making... Am I really only making one rubber? God, this made so much more sense back when I did it. Okay, so I'm... So that would be 110 for reasons. I don't like these numbers. Okay, so I'm going to switch one of these plastics over to rubber. Not residual rubber, rubber. Okay, so that will give me 40 residual fuel there. And then the other 8 will give me 80. So 80 plus 40 is 120. That will cover all the fuel I am producing currently. But leave me none for making smokeless powder. Unless... how much compacted coal was I producing again? I was producing 25 times 12, 300. And turbo fuel takes how much? Turbo fuel. Turbo fuel consumes 15. So I got 300 compact coal to use, and that would require 20 refineries, each consuming over 20 units of fuel at a time. That is a big ask. I'm probably just going to have a major surplus of compacted coal. I might even go back. Ah, man. And if I made fuel, it would make a byproduct of polymer resin, which is screwy. Where's this going? Is that even hooked up to anything? It's not hooked up to anything. Oh, wait, no, it is. Where's it going? Where's it going? Oh, shit. That's not good. I just threw polymer resin into a sorting system not designed to have any polymer resin in it. Well, I fixed it, I think, and hope. But we are going to have to figure something out. So. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up to make a small amount of turbo fuel based on the amount of refineries and crude oil that I have right now. And if I want to expand turbo fuel production at a later date, I can do that. I have plenty of fuel to work with at the time, at this moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 refineries making rubber. So that will give me 60 on these 3, and then the other 7 are producing 70. So 60 plus 70 is 130. The 2 refineries making residual fuel are consuming 120. So that gives me 10. I can do more. Each one of these that I have doing rubber adds more. But I don't really need that much rubber. Honestly, I'm already hitting a good amount of plastic. I don't want to reduce plastic and go back to being low on plastic. Are there power cores in the crude oil? Let's take a look. There are already power cores on the crude oil. Okay. And I'm guessing, yeah, all the major crude oil sources in this area are found. I'm going to have to put down a... Do I have what it takes to make a radar tower where I'm at right now? Organization? Radar tower. I do. Okay, where's the best place for that? Probably out this way. See if there's any more oil sources in the area. Because what I'm looking at now is just it's going to be difficult to get I can at least make the math for smokeless powder come out nice, but I'm going to have to have a surplus of that's probably going to be blocked by the mountain, actually. So yeah, I can make. Ooh, that's a danger boy right over there. We're just gonna not tangle with him. I don't know if I can get all the way up this mountain like this. Guess we'll see. I can make the smokeless powder stuff math nicely, but only if I'm making, but it's going to mess with the amount of fuel I'm producing and the amount of plastic I'm going to be producing, and then those two things won't math nicely and neatly, which is less than ideal. So what I'm hoping is that there is another source of good crude oil in this area. Because that's been another thing, is like crude oil is always super far away from wherever you are. And I'm struggling to get up this mountain. Wonder if I can't. Yeah, here we go, here we go. It's a little obtuse, but I am getting up here. Yeah, I'm hoping. You know what? Good enough. I'll call this good. What I am hoping for is that I can find another source of crude oil out here, and I can expand out the fuel production in order to do more turbo fuel. More turbo fuel and more black powder. Smokeless powder. Whatever. And hopefully this radar tower will tell me if that is indeed a possibility. And there are none. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I mean, even these sources over here are impure. Oh, where? I mean, there's oil way over there. I theoretically could pipeline it across the map and over. There's oil over here too, but I think it was all impure normal. There's a few normals. And it's a lot closer. Yeah, okay. I think that's what it's going to have to be. I think next time I get on, I'm going to have to nab those. Yep, Slapdash factory. Yep, okay. So, I didn't quite make it all the way to producing turbo fuel and smokeless powder this time. However, I do know what I will be doing next time. I'm going to grab the sources of oil that were out here by the sulfur that I put down and pipe it on over to the oil factory as it stands. And I'm going to expand out the fuel production considerably. That way, I can start making residual fuel or turbo fuel and smokeless powder in large quantities. And then we'll go from there. Probably by that time, I'll finally have phase 3 done. And I can consider banging my head against the wall of insanity that is aluminum production. That, ugh. At that point, I'll probably start doing trains, just because, like the conveyor belts going across the continent is cool and all, but I only have so many industrial beams to work with. And once I start getting the aluminum plates that I need to make the Mark V conveyor belts, I mean, like I've said, aluminum itself is a real pain to deal with. But then trying to get enough aluminum plating that I'll never run out when I'm making large conveyor belts would require doing so much aluminum that it would probably take several hours to set up, honestly. And then, like, you need aluminum for a lot of things. You need to make aluminum plating for conveyor belts and other stuff. But then there's also aluminum casings, which you need for, like, batteries and things. And then once you get batteries, you get into drone stuff. And I've never even touched drones. I don't think I want to touch drones. I mean, they're kind of cool. They don't carry nearly as much stuff, but they can fly. So I wouldn't even have to worry about my conveyor belts crossing the ground with drones in the air. Where's it? Yeah, kill the wildlife that's made camp on top of these oil wells. Just another day at the office. Okay. Well, that's going to be it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.